Hey everyone, it's your Silhouette Seamstress. Old Crafty Sue is taking on a new challenge, but before we talk about that, I want to talk about covering buttons. Now as everybody knows, I just got done doing some wedding items, and it's hard to find buttons that match certain colors, so you end up doing cover buttons. They're in all different kinds of sizes, and there's some good ones, and there's some not so good ones. They all serve the same purpose, but it took me a while to find which one I liked the best as far as easy to assemble, put together, and looks good when it's done. Now what's interesting about the button covers is they have assigned them certain numbers. So far I haven't figured out how they make sense, because a number 16, which is what I use for flower girls buttoning up, or the bride, the bride has their little tiny little pearl size buttons on the back, is this one. It's a number 16. It's only 10 millimeters across from one side to the other, and that's small. There's different backings for these too. Most of your button covers are going to look just like that, domed and then flat on the back. They're just kind of domed, nothing fancy. But then there's a fancy one that I fell in love with, and it's my new favorite. I need to get more of those because they're so easy. They're snap-in assemble. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I'll try to demonstrate for you. There are different backs to cover buttons. Is when you search for them, do covered buttons, and they'll have these kits. They come with a two-piece tool. If they don't have this, don't get them. Get the kits that have this, even if it doesn't have enough buttons. So like what I did the first time, that's why I have so many different ones. I got the starter kit, basically. And the starter kit has the tool in it. Otherwise, when you get the refills, there's no tool. So you've got to hold on to these guys. They are stamped with the size button that they're used for, right on the bottom. These are kind of clear, so it's hard to see, but this one says right on there, number, it says 20. Yeah, 20. This one, the numbers are really small. The other ones I can see better, but they're really tiny. But it's a number 20. Now, the interesting about number 20 tool is you can use it for the number 16s also, because it's not so much this part that's important. It's I call it the plunger. I don't know what it's called. It's the top part of the tool that pushes and secures the fabric around the button cover. You got to press on it. There's the one here. I don't remember which one it is, and it may be these little guys where the company that makes them said you don't need the tool. That's a lie. You sure do. Unless you got some special kind of pliers to snap these buggers in there. These are really difficult to work with. They are a test of patience, big time. And I had a heck of a time just getting 4 of these done in a short amount of time. The bigger they are, the easier they are to do. What I'm going to be looking for is not these backs, because these are to be made, they've got like a little lump. Oh, just see if I can show you. It's like a little lump kind of thing where that's where you stitch it to your garment, which makes them extremely tight, which is cool, because you don't want them it's great for not wanting them to fall off. However, when they're so difficult to get the top to adhere to it or to snap into it, they will tend to, and I had several pop off. I had to get super glue out to glue it back on there, because the type of material you use for buttons like this has to be pretty thin, and not all satin is thin, and I was having to use regular weight satin for these. It was not too much fun. There's one company that I got some of these buttons from, gave me the niftiest little thing. Some of them, when you get the starter kit, will have a plastic disc. Those are the ones that are a little bit more expensive, not maybe about $1 more. And it's a circle and has the inside cut out. Well, that inside hole is the size of the button that it will be used for. So this company, then when I got these new button covers, the snap-ins, oh my gosh, it has a little business card. It has the business information on it, but it also has a little ruler at the top. And it has another little ruler in the back. And I looked at this and I said, I've got to hold on to this because I don't know if I'll ever get another one like it. On the front, this was with the number 24 buttons. The number 24s are actually 16 millimeters across, i.e. half an inch. It's a half to 5/8 inch. I should probably measure that and make sure, because 16 millimeters is 10, 15, 16 is a half inch, just a little over a half inch actually. It's actually 5/8. So your predominant, average, normal, everyday button is a 5/8 inch button. If you notice on shirts, they all have 5/8 inch buttons. You can go to half inch if you want them a little bit smaller, because sometimes the 5/8 kind of like might look too big. This is the, which one is this? I get these guys mixed up. Okay. This is the, this is what one looks like when it's covered. It's not that big. I mean, that's a normal shirt size button, which is the 5/8. I'm measuring it, make sure. Oh, I turn the card over. So on one side, and that is a 24. Yes, it is. So then if I put it on my little measuring thing, my husband got me this. Isn't that sweet? Because I broke one. Yeah, I stepped on it by accident. Bummer. And that ends up being right there. Which is, I didn't do that right. I'm looking at the wrong. There we go. Right there. It's like a half inch. So this one's a half inch. The next one, this one, the 28 is that one's 5/8. So the 24, which is the one that I go for, because if you look at this 5/8, and it does look like about the width of a seam, a normal seam, that's kind of big. See how big that is compared to this little guy? Watch this. There's a huge difference. So unless it's a big guy and you're making, this would look okay. But if it's a little skinny dude or girl, go with a half inch. That's the number 24s, and this is 28s. I noticed that most of the patterns that I was looking at were saying 5/8 inch, and I covered one, and I went, well, for the guy's vest, yeah, but not for the girl's stuff. So it's your own personal preference. I just prefer to have the 24s for the ladies' attire and even the gentlemen's formal vests, because they're not too dainty, but they're not too overstated. So back to this lovely little business card. The little business card has all the company information on the front, and these came from Made in the USA. Yeah! We need to have more stuff made in the USA, people, because then our economy would really boom. So let's get some businesses open. Can we figure out how to do that? They can't figure it out down in DC. And they even give you their website. Give them feedback. They want feedback from you. I like this place. I need to look them up again, because there's some tops I'm missing. Well, from another company, but I'm going to look these guys up. And on the back, it says it's a fabric selection card and template. Well, that's pretty neat. Tells you how this little cardboard circle here, you can cut it out, and then you cut the center out, and then you take that little ring that you just cut out, and when you go to buy your buttons, make sure the button fits in that little hole. Wild, huh? So, and or you can just cut out the outside circle. You can take the card and just cut out the inside circle and keep this all in one piece, just like this, which is what I would do. And then put your button in there, because it says right on that little circle, 5/8 inch, 1.6 centimeters. It even tells you, it even gives you the conversion from millimeters to centimeters. I like these people. Well, they're USA people, can't be that, huh? And it tells you all the stuff that they sell and that they have, so you can like really go crazy with this place. I need to look up some of these things. They got hair bracelets and all kinds. Wow. But oh, I'm getting excited because I haven't even looked up their website yet. I just got excited about the buttons. And on the back, it broke down into millimeters. So let's say you have a button, you want to see how many millimeters it is. But what's the cool thing is, at the end of that, when you have that button on there and you're measuring it, it tells you what number button it is by whatever millimeters it is. So on this card, the first one would end at 12 millimeters. And the 12 millimeter button cover is a number 20. And the next one's the number 24, 30, 36, 45. That's when you get into like the big, bulky, like pillow buttons. If you're doing like a huge throw pillow, you want to pick a button in the middle. Yeah, that's in there. And it's centimeters and millimeters on there. So there are some companies that do not convert to the metric system, and they will have the centimeters on their packaging. And I've come across that as well, because I've had some where it says 12 centimeters, and I go, how many millimeters is that? Because I'm used to doing millimeters because they started out as millimeters. But then, the new math thing didn't go over so well, so they want to switch to metric. Nope, we're not doing that. So some companies have accommodated for that, some have not. I have my my war headband on because I'm getting ready to have a war with this little project. So I'll put the company information in the comments so y'all can check it out. They have these snap-on buttons that I am now totally in love with. Oh my gosh. You almost don't need a tool for them. But I use the base from one of my other starter kits just for stabilization, to cover a button. Like I said, your starter kits will have either a plastic disc like this, or it'll have actually a piece of cardboard that has a circle on it. You use that as your guide, and you place that little circle. The outer part of it is where you're going to mark your fabric and cut it out. I stopped doing that because I got aggravated with the way this, because I'm always working with satin when I'm covering buttons, and it slides around, even inside the little form. And I was getting too mad. So I don't do it that way anymore. But you do it the way the package says, and then you test for yourself, because it's best to try their way first and see if it works for you. Maybe it's because I'm left-handed, I don't know. But there's something about the maneuverability that just doesn't work with these hands, and then you start getting arthritis in your fingers and stuff like that. So I showed you the one back where it looks like a humpback, little knobby thing that you sew onto. Then there's another back for these buttons. It has actually the little loop. Now these are great because they have give and they're easy to sew on. They're not always easy to get inserted into the button cover depending on the fabric you're using. Actually, I'm going to demonstrate one of those in a minute. And then you have my new button love. This company, their buttons, they are snap-in. And snap-ins are the way to go for me. I don't remember how I found these folks, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad they're in the United States of America. Their button cover looks like any other one. But one main thing, this metal is heavier. It doesn't bend like that. The other ones are kind of like a lightweight aluminum kind of thing. These are got some chutzpah to them. They have some body. They have some solidity to them. And they have teeth. They have little teeth. See the teeth? Okay. So these have a teeth, and the loop that you're going to sew with is already on there. But it's on the top part. It's not on the bottom like the other ones do. So why is that? Because the second part for these kind of button covers it actually looks like a snap. Well, it is a snap. It looks like a normal kind of snap, except it doesn't have the little 4 holes, right? It has a little slit in it, and that's where that little loop goes, and that's in this slit here. And I'm thinking, I think I might be in love with this. But I'm going to show you how the other ones work. I have some scrap material here, and it's satin. Now I could cut the little circle out if I wanted to, but sometimes, for whatever reason, I've done that. Cut it out, just, for the pattern that came with them, and it's still too much material. It's too thick because it has to fold in the top, and then when the bottom gets smooshed onto it, it locks it in place. But if there's too much under there, it won't shut, and it pops right off. One of the vests I did was for my husband, and through the course of the wedding we were at, one of the tops of his buttons went, it disappeared. But I have a spare. I always have spares. I have a ton of them. So since the one I have here that has the loop bottom for it, I'm not even going to do the tiny one. I'll let you experiment with that. But you can do that yourself. I'm going to be doing the number 20. 20 this is the next step up. It's from, the tiny one is 10 millimeters, this one is 12, but it's a number 20. Now, I don't think, I lie, I have a number 20 tulle bottom. I don't have a 22. The 22s actually fit in here. Snug, but that's a good thing. So I think when they made these, I have to check and see if they actually have a 22 kit, base or tulle. But I know they have a 20. I know they have 20. I don't know about 22, and I have 24s. I only see 20, 24, 26. I don't know about 28. 30. I think I put my 28s in the 30, and then there's 36. I don't even know why I have a 36. Other than it was oops, I ordered the wrong thing. But one day I'm going to do a big throw pill and stick one of those in there. Maybe two. So the way you do a button cover, use the pattern. Do it like they say. Cut that little circle out. Matter of fact, I don't have one for that size, but I'll cut a circle out anyway. Show you what I mean. And if you don't have one of those little cardboard circles, how you do it is you put your right side down, put your button on top, and when you cut out your fabric, cut it out a 1/4 inch away from the size of that. And you can eyeball it. You can take, your fabric marker and it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. Just do a 1/4 inch around, because that's how wide the outside ring is on those patterns for cutting these out. So now I've got a kind of circle. And I'm going to cut that out. If this one works the first time, I am going to scream, because it never does. Because satin likes to slide like ice. But most things, when you have to cover a button, it's for something that has satin. It's always a formal kind of thing. Cotton fabrics, using them in one of these button things is a whole lot easier. It is a whole lot easier. So now you've got your circle, and you've got your button top. Okay? Your fabric goes into the tulle, the base of the tulle, right side down. Center it. Okay? Take your cap, and you take your finger and go stuff it in there. Okay? Now you've got this. See that? Now, because this one doesn't have teeth on it, it's going to try to flop out on me. So the back that I'm going to use is the one with the little metal ring. These I prefer over the ones that have the I call it flush mount button cover. I don't care for those. These, at least if the string does break or the thread breaks, this is going to stay intact. The other one is the whole thing's going to come apart. They created those so it would be more tight towards the body. But anytime you sew on a button, you don't want it so tight and there's no movement. Those don't afford that. You almost have to stitch them on looser than you normally would. I don't like losing buttons just like anybody else does. So I've got it there. So I'm going to take those ends and just take my finger, tuck them in best that I can. Kind of do a little finger press looking thing, right? And they're in there. So put all that little fabric in there on top. And it pops up a little bit. That's okay. So it's all tucked in. You can see it's not sticking up except for right there in the middle. And then I'm going to take my little loop backing and it goes right on there. Now I try to get the fuzzy ends in there with it. And this is the tricky part. I'm holding it down with my fingers, right? Now I need to get the plunger tool to get it to stay in there. And I need one of these guys. Now these are different also from starter kit to starter kit. Some of them it'll be like a little, I don't know, a smokestack. And you want to pay attention to the circumference of that inside piece. That's what allows the little loop part to not get smooshed. It goes up in there and the outside edges push the backing onto it to get it to snap in place and stay in place. I hope. So what I do, since I have so many different ones, which is a good thing, I put it next to the bottom of the tool, and I go, okay, if the top of the plunger part comes to the top of that bottom part of the tool, that's the one to use, as long as it's not too narrow in the middle to go over that little loop. So I have several. This is D24. Can I put that one there? And that one's basically the same. Looks like it's a little lower, but that could be from me having pushed down on it so many years, and that's another reason why I get starter kits every so often, because after a while, you've been smashing them for months and months, and you they get disshaped. Now this one, I can tell my older ones from my new ones. You know how I can tell? The newer ones are lighter blue. The older ones were made with a heavier plastic. They last longer. And the color. I don't know if you guys can see. This is the one I've had for years and years, and this one was like within the last 5 years or whatever. I don't know if you can tell. They're both supposed to be 24 plungers, so to speak. But this one is more compact, tighter. It's a little, just a hair smaller in diameter across than this one. Just a teensy weensy bit. Makes all the difference in the world. That's why I keep all of these. So don't be afraid to buy several starter kits, but spread them out. Like, buy one this year and wait a couple of years and get another one. Use the one you got. So I like this one because of how it's made and the quality of the plastic. That's the one I want to use. This one, I really like this one though. This one is for the real small one. It's supposed to be. And look at that. The main difference? The height. I do not, if I use this pink one, I don't have to worry about the part that I'm going to sew onto. I'm trying to get this so you can see. There you go. I'm not going to have to worry about that little ring that I need to sew the button to the shirt or whatever of it getting smashed at all, because this is higher. This one will work, this is fine. But when I put it next to it, it's just above the lip. I like that one. But this one is the one you use for one main reason. This edge, this part here, has to come in contact with the inside of the ridge. Where's that other one I had? Okay. The ridge of where that metal wire is. There's that little ridge in there. This has to sit right next to it so it can seal that edge. Whereas the one that's smaller, although higher and tighter, not so much, it would still be loose. You want this to make it tight. This forces it to go, smush down the fabric. Let's hope. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt the right size, the 24 plunger for the 24 button, and put it right over that little ring. Okay? And I'm going to push on the table. You want to have a hard surface when you do this. And I'm going to pray. I use every I got, because I've had so many of these things not do their job. Now, don't laugh. I do something sometimes when I think possibly it might not be in there seated right. or not tight where it didn't snap in. I get these little mini pliers, and I'll squish it with that because I think they have more torque than my fingers. So I put that on the outside of it, and I just give it a little squeeze, a little squeeze around the edges, and hope and pray that that's all it needed. And I have a feeling this one did not do its job, but we'll see. You take that off. It's opposed. Oh, I think we got a good one. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I didn't really need those. So, if you have the right plunger with the right circumference to do that, it will stay together. This is the thing. You go to pop this out. Do not pull on the. Don't pull on that. You push because it's pliable. It's pretty darn pliable. You push on it, and then guess what comes out? A perfectly covered little black button. This would be like for a tux. This is a tux size. This is the number 20 buttons they're basically tux and sleeve buttons. They're the small ones. You don't put 5/8 there. This is 3/8, approximately. Let's see. Let me double check myself. 12 millimeters. 10, 12. Turn it over. Yeah, 3/8. 3/8 is your typical sleeve or cuff cuff button size. And the ones that I absolutely adore, I'm going to actually do one because I can't not let you see this magic that this thing does. The one with the teeth. The one that's made in the USA. Now I have 3 different 24s. I even know which one of these I got first. I keep track of my stuff. The one that I've had the longest is this one. And I can't explain to you how I know, because the newer ones, for some reason, they made them a lot deeper. I don't like those as much. The older ones are a thicker pliable rubber. The walls are thicker. See, they're thick. And these look like they're thick, but they're extremely soft. Now that's great for popping the buttons out, but if you have a difficult button cover that doesn't like you to pop it out quick and it comes apart on you, and you start yelling because it's all the way across the floor, you'll wish you had an old one. I don't know how to tell you to find the good tool other than to just experiment with it. Look at how they are online and just buy one, because they're not that expensive. Like, you can get the basic kit for any button, like has 5 buttons in it, I think, in each one of them, and it'll have this tool in there. Just make sure the tool's included, and for $3-4, it's worth it to make sure that you get one that's going to work for you. So I'm going to do it on this one, the one with the teeth, and the one with the little slot hair. It slides right over it. Now I'm going to be good. I'm going to do the circle thing again. And this time it's a little bigger button, so 1/4 inch all the way around. Like I said, you find the one that works for you, that doesn't give you a headache, and use it. And I experiment all the time, so I like to try new things, and that's how you find out about new products that are out there. And so I'm going to cut this around here. The other thing that I should have told you with this is satin. Use pinking shears, because it shreds. I mean, it sheds like a husky dog, only worse. I'd rather have a husky dog some days than have shedding satin. Again, right side goes down. I'm going to use the old one. It goes down. Okay. Same like the other one. This goes in, the top goes in, although this one has teeth and the loop. So you can push that one in there. It goes in there really good. And then push the sides down, just like you did with the others. The difference is the teeth are going to hold it in place for you to put that bottom on. That's the part I like. And if you can't get your fingers in there, just use, You can use the end of a pin. I use the end of this fat seam ripper and just tuck them in there, pretty as a picture, so that it catches on those little teeth. Now, if you're using these from this company, the one thing they didn't tell me, I had to figure it out myself, is it has letters stamped on it. I'm going to show you see if you can see the little letters on here. Can you see the little letters on there by chance? I don't know. There's 4 little letters on here. It stands for the company's name. And if you try to put this on with the letters upside down, because when you look at it, you go, okay, so I gotta go this way. No, it's the opposite. The letters are right side up. When I go on here right side up, I thought they went upside down, but they don't. Because a lot of times they do. So I have to look at it, it's like, okay, which is right side up? It says M-A-H-F. And that is backwards. So one side is a mirror version of the letters, and the other is the right side up. Right side up goes, you just line the little slit up there with the little ring, the little metal ring thing, and you put it in. Now technically you can just snap it with your fingers, like I just did. I didn't have to use the top part of the tool. But when you do this, and you have a hard time getting in there, you won't. These guys are awesome. I put the top in the space just because it's easy for making sure the satin doesn't slide around. So get the starter kit of one of these, and then get these buttons and just use the bottom part to snap them in. Watch. I'm popping this little baby out. And I was in love. I was like, look at that. Oh my gosh. I did not have to use the other tool, and it's the most perfect button ever. The little teeth hold on to it. This bottom's not going to come off. I don't know if you guys could hear it. It snapped. It snapped. It goes right in there. And the surface is perfect. I mean, it's not, there's no, bumps around the edges, and the other ones sometimes, like this one. I'll show you this one that we just did. Sometimes if you don't get it all in there just right, because there's no teeth to hold it, you get a little, see, where's that spot I saw? There it is. You get these little, there's a little like lump right here, okay? Because I couldn't cinch it in, because I only had my fingers that took in there, and there was no teeth on it. These people need to take a lesson from those other folks. Well, I'm going to make sure you guys get this information, because I'm thrilled. So that's the button cover deal. There's multiple different sizes. This is the 36, by the way. It's huge. It's a good, I think it's the 7/8 or 1 inch. I think this is 7/8, and that's a 1 inch. For us that don't really care for metrics. But those are the choices you have. And I do not like, I've discovered, I don't like these because the ones that are supposed to fit, they don't really fit. Now when I have these, I'm going to see if I can even get one to work, but I had to use them for the flower girl dresses, and I was like, eh. So I'm not going to cut the circle for that tiny little circle, for one reason. You can't get your fingers around it. It's like it's next to nothing. And to put that tiny of a circle in there and try to cover it, it's a pain. There's nothing worse than being aggravated at something you're trying to get done. So I'm going to do, okay, that's the right side. Right side down. And this is the smallest one that I have, which is that's the 20. And even though those are A16, they should work in here. So I put that down, it's centered. And I actually did cut it a quarter inch all around. And shove that little guy in there. Because that bottom piece is not tighter. I don't know if they make one for these little guys. The satin is sliding around underneath the cap. And I can't stand that. And I'm trying to think, so you're trying to tuck it in, tuck it all in, not have any little hairs hanging out, and that's why I said use pinking shears, and I didn't use it on this, which I should have. And you run the risk of having little fuzzy hairs hanging out of the button. And then these little cap things, they're supposed to work. I haven't got one to work on this satin yet. So I'm going to stick it in there. It's too darn small. It just swallows it up. So it doesn't fit. And then I thought, well, how did I do the other ones? I must have had just enough to do the dresses I was doing. Because those little bottoms, the one I just tried to use, it's not big enough. So I'm going to do the next size up. The next size up I have is this one. This guy right here is a 22, and this is a 16. Yeah, good luck with that one. Now I can put that in there and attempt it. I don't know about that. I'm going to use the pink plunger just because it has the hole for the thing. I know this isn't going to work. That's why I said I got to figure out I'm going to see if this other company has backs for those tiny little buttons. And what happens is it starts smushing this. It does not stay in. It just comes apart. See? The tiny little buttons, unless you can find this tool that is for that size. When I got those, I think it was a refill kit, and I thought I could use the smallest one I had. I was wrong. Best laid plans. That is the button world, the covered button world. And the wonderful ones, I'll make sure you have the information. I'll put it in the comments. I want to share all this great information because I don't know if you guys normally would do button covering, but sometimes you just can't find the right button for the outfit you're making. And sometimes you just want a button that matches it perfectly, especially a floral print or something. You want to have the flowered buttons, yeah. And this is the way to do it. It's not difficult. It took me all these years for that company to show up. And now I don't want to use any other button but snap ones. Maxent, you're amazing. Company's name's Maxent. M-A-X-A-N-T. I hope you've enjoyed this. And I hope that you'll experiment with buttons. I mean, there's some people who just like to do buttons like it's a crafty thing. You just attach buttons to different things. I'm going to be making some little gift items, accessory bags, like a makeup bag kind of things. And I'm going to put buttons on them. Now that I got these cool buttons to use, you know, buttons in a loop and a little closure and a little zip top. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do with buttons. I mean, I know people who just collect buttons just to sew them on stuff. So, hey, if you like this video, I hope so. Just give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. And give me a comment. Let me know what you think about buttons. And if you plan on using them, let me know what you're going to use it for. That'd be cool. I like to hear about projects that other people do. And then, hey, share it. Share my videos, any and all of them. There's a little bit of something different in every one of them. And I keep coming up with other stuff. And then, of course, hey, subscribe. Give me an opportunity to keep making more. I've got so many ideas in his head that it hurts sometimes. But in a good way. You know, the good kind of hurts. Like, oh, I could do that. I can put fur on a collar. I have a video on that. And I'm getting ready to do downsizing a t-shirt. That's the next video. Watch out for it. It's coming. And if you're an intermediate to advanced, you can appreciate it. If you're a beginner that just wants to prove you can do it because you like a challenge, like moi, go ahead. Let's do it. And let's do it together. You, me, we're just going to keep on sewing.